We all know that the world and spirituality needs decolonization. But how do we actually do this? Here are the 3 action pillars of decolonization that you can implement today, and hopefully the collective can implement tomorrow, so that we can start building a better world and better spiritual practices outside of the religious hegemony. Pillar number 1, restoration. This is the scholastic work of recovering what was hidden, stolen, deliberately obscured, or lost to time. For me personally, this means digging into the Popol Vuh, examining the Maya codices, reading the obscure books of some elders and folklorists, being on the ground and visiting temple sites, examining stela, going to museums and checking out ceramics, studying the history of my people. And yes, reading academic journals, which a lot of people find boring. But I would argue that if you truly have a passion for decolonizing spirituality, or just a passion for your spiritual path in general, you will do the work, because it will be fun for you. A lot of people fear that if they study history, it'll demystify and take away the magic from their magic. I believe this is a really old school and, to be quite honest, an ignorant mentality. My family and I have found quite the opposite. History impacts the mystery in a positive way. History enhances the mystery. It's almost like knowing the demon's name, where you have power over it, but in this case, it's more beneficial. If you know the origin of something, if you know the purity of something, it only enhances the magical worldview surrounding it. Pillar number 2, accountability. This is the ethical work of honestly naming where our practices come from. Uncomfortable truths of who profits, who gets centered, and who gets erased. There are so many examples across the decades of where you have non-indigenous practitioners taking and commodifying indigenous ideas or practices or concepts, making a profit out of it. Many of these things, these commodified ideas, a lot of people bought into them. Probably people watching this. That's just how prolific some of these grifts have gotten. And if we're going to move forward, we have to admit where these things come from and take accountability for a lot of them. I'm addressing here cultural appropriated practices. I'll be having more material coming out in the future about the biggest cultural appropriated practices and ideas specific to Mesoamerica and the Maya. So I won't spend too much time on that. But I will make an additional note here that it is not simply non-indigenous practitioners. It is not just white people commodifying native stuff and making a buck off of it. There are actual indigenous people and elders that will sell out and claim something as ancient when it's really not. And this is done for profit. Now, I think there's an asterisk that needs to be kept in mind here, because there is a difference when it comes to very rural, humble living elders that just want to provide for their community and family, and they will lie to extract tourism money to do so and claim something as sacred when it's not, versus, let's say, Catholic authorities doing that when the Catholic organization is worth into the multi-billions of dollars. There's quite a bit difference when a rural indigenous elder lies to feed and take care of and preserve his community versus pandering policies that the Catholic Church does in order to strengthen its stronghold on the society. The sooner we can address and disclose these uncomfortable truths, the sooner we can move on to greater practices. Pillar number 3, Reconstruction. This is the creative work of building practices that honor indigenous roots, while acknowledging we cannot simply return to a pre-colonial past. There's also just some customs and courtesies that we don't have space for or don't have the context for anymore in this day and age. And to my fellow indigenous people, That goes for European traditions as well. There's just no space for the secondary customs and courtesies from back then. This is more of a consequence of the passage of time. There's a lot of things that our native ancestors would have really loved in the modern day, maybe like penicillin. But there's a lot that our modern day can learn from our ancient past. We also just know more about the world than our ancestors did, at least in a very broad sense. And we can apply this to the native logic and now create a more expansive worldview than either of us would have had in isolation. I'm specifically talking about spiritual practices. There is a lot of material that we can consult for healthy reconstruction and ritual expansion without culturally appropriating, but yet still has some kind of modern amenities and modern adjustments baked into it. This is more for ease of use and just contemporary relevance, not cultural appropriation. But to do this properly, to do new reconstructive creative work properly, the other two pillars have to be met. You have to know where the origins of things come from, and you have to be willing to address the grievances and the egregious inputs that have no basis. We owe it to our ancestors, and we owe it to the actual objective history to decolonize with a purpose, and for decolonization to actually produce results worthwhile. I believe that the rewards of proper decolonization with high effort and a high standard can truly change the world for the better. In today's day and age, we are dealing with a new type of colonialism. At one point, it was the church pulling the strings and calling the shots. Then it was monarchies. Then it was new government systems, such as fascism and communism, and economic systems like unbound capitalism. Today, we stand at the advent of technocratic authoritarianism, where the new crowns have apps on your phone. For the full, free decolonization manifesto, subscribe to the Mystery Codex on Substack. Or you can go to solomonpakal.com, which is my Substack, The Mystery Codex. For readings and Mayan astrological birth chart services, go to my website, mayanmysteryschool.com, and book now.